The second reason is because the skin has a layer of fat in between it. So when you have, grilling is considered a dry cooking method. So as that fish gets hot through, that skin does too. So why not protect it with that layer of fat? So where's the fat going to do? Drip down into the fish, right? Where if you did it the opposite way, now you're cooking out all the fat right away. Same thing with skinned chicken and stuff like that. You want to cook it and do the skin, cook it nice and crispy. So, but yes, with dry rub, you can either do very heavy or light. He went light on this, I'm guessing, because it's spicy. People are going to consider it spicy, so he just probably didn't want to blow you guys' socks off. Yeah, when I do dry rubs, I'm totally, and I do like this because pork is my favorite protein on God's green earth. I love it. I will eat pork in any shape, form, or way. It's like the yummiest and so cheap at the grocery store. I don't know why people are not pork lovers like me, but I totally appreciate it because it doesn't drive the price of it up. Pork tenderloin, anything, or if I use like a pork loin that has very low fat content to it, I'll use a wet rub because I want to introduce that fat to the outside of that protein. And then marinades, don't marinate fish or anything like that because fish gets too mushy, especially white fish. It breaks down a lot. Totally wet or dry rubs on fish. If you're gonna
fresh fish, I go fishing a lot.
Yep. I'll give you my address.
I'll clean my fish and I'll cut the cabbage and I'll take 2 egg cubes and I'll stick it inside the cabbage and cook them inside out.
Yep.
And I like cooking it on my grill, which I don't use gas grill, I use charcoal. I don't use only charcoal. And I put the aluminum foil on. I put that baby on 5-6 minutes and I just turn it over once about 3 minutes. That takes me in the oil.
Yeah. Why do you use the aluminum foil? You just afraid it's gonna stick?
To keep that. The ice cube melts really good. It
keeps the steam in there, keeps it moist there. Yeah.
It's like smoking and you're grilling at the same time. Comes out really good.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of the charcoal grill. Again, now that I have 2 children, I don't have that kind of time. So we have some salmon cooked up if you want to give it a try. Feel free to come up. So that's marinades. What's next? Anybody have any questions so far?
I'm sorry. I just asked what kind of fish do you recommend for the grill?
Tuna fish, swordfish, haddock, salmon, cut anywhere you want it cut. Any perch is real. Red snapper is really good on the grill. And if you're kind of novice at it, it's fine to do it in like a tinfoil pouch or anything like that. Yeah, snapper. Tuna in all different ways. Swordfish steaks, swordfish kebabs. You can get like chopped. You can get kebab swordfish, like chunked swordfish. Skewer it with some peppers and onions. Oh my God, it's so delicious. And you can mix that in a marinade, but like 30-45 minutes top in a marinade. Any white fish that can be broken down easily like that, or dry rub it, and it would blow. You can get it frozen. And here's another tips and tricks of the trade, I guess. The frozen fish that you're buying at the grocery store is typically far fresher than the fish that you're buying at the fresh fish section. Just gonna throw that out there. So if you think you're like, oh, I don't want to serve frozen fish, kebabs or whatever, thaw those puppies out. What they do is they catch them and they freeze them right on the boat. The fish you buy, I'm not saying it's not fresh, but they're out for 2 days, bring it in, dock it, they trade it. Then it's to market basket, So you're looking at 3 or 4 days, maybe 2.
In terms of kind of a marinade, which has like a base, like you talked about having either like a vinegar base or tomato base or whatever, would a dry rub have a base, quote unquote, as well, or is it really kind of equal proportions or of a wholesome manner and everything?
Nope. It's just dry rubs are typically some type of pungent taste or a wet rub. A honey mustard can be a wet rub. So would that have some acid in it? Yeah, totally. But when you're using a dry or a wet rub, you're typically not looking to marinate or baste anything. Just dry, hit it, ready to go. Where these tips have been marinated for at least 12 hours. We do them overnight at the restaurant. And so these are in a house marinade that we use, and then we dry grill them. So this is an example of something that we marinated. The marinade is definitely acid heavy because it's a tougher cut of beef. They're tenderloin tips. There's sirloin too.
I like Woodstock acid.
Yeah. We're on film, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Can't bring it anywhere. So did somebody else have a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, when you were cooking fish, you were saying, cook it with the skin side up.
Mhm.
Do you not turn it? You just cook it one side?
Oh, no, you do turn it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do
Just to
turn it.
start with, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, and again, that's like a culinary thing where some people say you should start with the skin so that when you flip it over, the fat's hot and it drips through the fish.
Yeah.
Again, it's just, my preference has been to cook it skin facing you. Yeah, I say skin facing you because I think when I say skin side up, people are like, what's up, what's down? You know, so
Right.
if the skin is facing you to start, that's how I do it.
Kind of what she was talking about, if I'm gonna be cleaning out my spice, how much typically do you put in, different spices so you don't like overpower with a certain spice?
Yeah, totally. Great question. And again, not to dance around it, but it depends on your preference. We can walk through it. Do you like spicy food, or you more like you like Italian herb rubs, or?
She likes,
I like it all.
well, she doesn't like too spicy because one time my dad tried to kill
Oh,
us.
you put too much cayenne pepper in it.
I love it. Okay, so if you like it all, let's say you have garlic powder, Italian seasoning, or let's say you have celery salt and thyme and some dried rosemary. You can, I would put more garlic than I would put in proportionately garlic powder, then thyme, then rosemary, because I just know that garlic powder is less potent than, is less potent than thyme, is less potent than rosemary.
Do you like taste it or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
taste it, yep. And then if you feel like it's just too strong as a dry rub, just introduce some olive oil, and then now you have like a paste. And then you can get real fancy with it and add some vinegar, add some red wine vinegar, and now you got a dressing for your salad. Seriously, that's what I do at home. That's what people do. Or if you know what I mean, like let's say you have this dry rub, like what I'll do with this Chef Nicole seasoning is, it's just dry right now, and you can take a look at it. I'll add oil to it and a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. I use it as a bread oil. So things like that at your house, if you have stuff like that, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, crushed red pepper, do something like that. And I'll totally add a little bit of Parmesan cheese, olive oil, and some red wine vinegar, some cider vinegar, and make a dressing with it. Or I'll do just olive oil and I'll toss fingerling potatoes in it, and then throw them in the microwave for 5 minutes, soften them up, and throw them on the grill and grill them the rest of the way.
That sounds good.
Same thing with grilled vegetables, totally. You can use your dry rubs and marinades are totally not just for meat.
Do you recommend cooking fish on an open grill or on a closed grill?
It depends, again, on your skill level, and this is obviously what we could use here. But pan searing is one of my favorite ways to cook. Same thing with a quick saute. For a salmon, even as a novice, like a salmon is not, in terms of delicate fish, this is kind of like a good starting fish, or even swordfish. It's very dense. Tuna fish, things like that, they're a little bit more expensive than haddock, so you don't want to like destroy 15, 4 fresh swordfish steaks. But salmon's a good one because it's got a good structure and it's oily. And the thicker cut fish as well, like the swordfish and the tuna fish. But you can get these just little planks, little pieces of cast iron, and throw them on your grill and pan sear it. And the thing that's really cool about pan searing that's different than grilling is when you grill something, the fat typically will drip through. Pan searing, it just bang. That protein on the outside coagulates. It's the first thing that happens. So when the juices start to go, oh, I want to get out, that protein is seared so fast, and it's not just grill marks, it's seared so fast that it's like, nope, juice, you're staying in here. And that's why people love pan-seared food. That's why pan-seared fish is awesome. So because you can get your grill super hot, it's a cool idea to have one of these at home to throw on your grill for things like fish and such. Especially if you're feeling like, well, I just don't want to mess with this grill today, but I have this fish, I have to cook it, I'm not feeling like emerald today. Throw it on your grill, heat it up, and you're ready to go. Cajun season something, that's how you blacken food, is on a flat top grill like that. So it's great for cooking mushrooms on the grill. or things like that, you know, that you don't want to deal with rolling all over the place. Because they start big and you're like, yeah, this isn't going to fall through. And then you're like, what happened? Your mushrooms are all over the place. So that's rubs and marinades. How long to put rubs and marinades on, we kind of touched on. Some cool tricks and unique things to put on the grill. Pineapple rings, really cool. You know, you're totally gonna eat it with a fork and knife anyway, so don't peel the pineapple. You guys ever get a pineapple at the store and you're gonna buy one, you're like, oh, I gotta peel it, I gotta take that spiny thing off, I gotta do this, I gotta core the damn thing. You know, when you grill it, you just whack the top and bottom off and keep the skin on the outside and just make it into, you know, 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch chunks. Because you're gonna eat it with a fork and knife anyway, chances are because you're eating something with grill, just cut the skin off as you go. And that way, it's much easier for one person to just take the skin off as they bite it, as opposed to you, you know, you cut it off and then you end up with a pineapple that's like this big, right? So it's like, it's a totally good way to get more uses out of pineapple too. Peaches, grilled peaches, so good. A little bit of honey, brown sugar, baste those babies up, throw them on the grill. They don't need long. Romaine lettuce. Have you ever had grilled romaine lettuce? It's like all the rage. They have it at Copper Door. Okay, so what you want to do is take, I'm not that like big leafy romaine lettuce that you get at the like healthy section of the lettuces, and not like that foxy bunch, you know, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for hearts of romaine or artisan romaine, real tight hearts of romaine bunch. Cut it right in half, baste it with olive oil, sprinkle a little salt and pepper, throw it right on your grill. 1 minute, flip it over, you get your nice grill grates, another minute, pull it off. It's like got this smoky, cool taste to it. It's wicked good. The leaves on the outside get a little charred, but they taste wicked good. Little Caesar dressing, some bacon. We're trying to stay healthy here. Vinaigrette, whatever you got laying around, your own spice rub that you turn into a dressing, full of cayenne. Good for your metabolism. Tomatoes are a cool thing to grill. Okay, like tomatoes, we grow them at our house, right? And you like waiting for those things to bloom, and then next thing you know, you're like, does anybody like tomatoes? I have so many tomatoes, and they're like busting at the seams, and there's worms in them, and pull them off, and totally grill them, right? And let's say you're grilling, you have a bunch of tomatoes you want to use, and you're like, oh, the mere thought of like making a tomato sauce on a beautiful Sunday is just not that Italian, you know, like grill them on the grill. And then throw them in a bag and throw them in your freezer. And then midway through the winter, you're like, I'm gonna have like a smoked tomato sauce. You just chop it up, or you just chop the tomatoes up smaller and toss them with pasta or whatever, like other chunk veggies. So now you have like this grilled tomato pasta mix. Throw it in some Alfredo. Cool way to use up your tomatoes without, you literally slice them in quarters, olive oil, salt, pepper, throw them on the grill, mark them up, throw them in a bag. See you later. Deal with it in January. Or grill them and eat them that night with your grilled salad. You have a whole grilled salad made. Potatoes, I mentioned potatoes. That's why I brought these. If somebody wants we could wrap this bag off you want.
You know that bag was like $7.50.
It was $4.99, but at the Harvest Market in Bedford, okay? Yeah, you go to Market Basket, I buy these things 2 for $4. Okay? I just so happen to be next to the Harvest Market, and time was of the essence. Okay, so this is what I do. Olive oil, garlic powder, salt, pepper. If you notice, I put fat and salt and pepper on everything. And olive oil, I don't use a bad fat, okay? But I also don't believe olive oil is bad for you. I would drink it out of the bottle. It's good for your hair, skin, nails. You know, people take these vitamins. I'm like, just have more olive oil. Good for you. Rub it on your feet, tan with it, you know, it's all, people have very creative uses for it. So a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, if you're plain Jane, if you want to do a little cayenne, whatever you feel like, a little Chef Nicole seasoning, throw them in the microwave for like 5 minutes just to soften them up, and then just toss them again in the bowl, and then throw them right on the grill. Now you have some nice grilled potato, so it's really cool. And again, so now you just have your plastic microwave bowl, your glass bowl, whatever, and it just had the marinade in it, so you throw them on the grill, you throw them right back in that bowl when they're done, so now it took you literally 10 minutes to make yummy potatoes, as opposed to cutting them, roasting them, your oven's at 480 degrees, you know, your house is now at 380 degrees. Because I love these little artisan potatoes, they're really good. And they're cool, they're like blue, my kids think it's like not bad for them, so they eat it. Melon's another cool one. You can do watermelon. Sometimes it's too water, it has too high of a water content. But you can grill watermelon real quick and drizzle balsamic, like a nice sweet balsamic vinaigrette, and do like some feta cheese, toasted pine nuts. You can also do it with cantaloupe, honeydew melon, and you can throw it right in the grill. Again, do like a little bit of butter, honey or brown sugar or whatever, and baste it like a cool grilled dessert. You know, if you have some kids coming over, or you know, the adults to have some lime, you know, whatever. Green beans, again, just blanch them in water or throw them in the mic real quick, and then throw, you know, olive oil. You just gotta have some type of fat on the outside, and then throw them on your grill, and they blister up. You gotta watch them, or they kind of go everywhere, but it's just a cool way to serve green beans. Asparagus. Oh, who loves asparagus? I will eat like 2 bunches of it for dinner. I love it. Okay, so right in the little elastics, just whack them off. I know you're supposed to like push it and snap it. Just cut like 2 inches of it off in the elastic still. That way they're not falling. Just wham, just whack it. Okay, we are busy people. Throw it right in. Leave it in that bunch is the key to grilling them. Leave them in that bunch. Put them in a plastic bag. Olive oil, salt, and pepper. Say it with me. That is whatever you made up as your dry rub. If you like it spicy, whatever, or just olive oil, salt, and pepper. It's totally fine. Line them right up on the grill. No foil, no grill baskets to deal with. You ever try to put that grill basket in your dishwasher? It's like the only thing you can clean in it. Just lay them right there. Shut your grill. Walk away for like 3 or 4 minutes. Don't panic. Just 3 or 4 minutes. Just let them blacken up. Roll them one time with your handy dandy spatula or your tongs. Walk away again for like another 2 minutes. Pick them up with your tongs. They're already like ready to plate in a perfect little line, little shaved Parmesan or grated Parmesan cheese. So good. Totally delicious. Again, those were $7.99 a pound at Harvest Market. They are $2.99 a pound at Market Basket. I'm just going to tell you that. I don't know if they were organic or not, but at some point, 3 times the amount of the cost. It's like, I'll take a GMO. Corn. Love to grill corn. People do it in the husk, and it's cool to do it in the husk because it creates, it has a lot of flavor. Those husks actually have some great flavor. You can peel the husk down, do a little butter, salt, and pepper in there, whatever flavoring you like, and put the husk back together. But basically, you're steaming the corn just on the grill. Those little ends are that little silk is gonna set on fire. Don't worry, it just goes out. But if you really want to have grilled corn, you actually do take it out of the husk. You want to blanch it in some boiling hot water. Make sure it's nice and dry. A little bit of salt and pepper, olive oil, whatever you want to season it with. Or you can just throw it on there. And you actually want to blister it up. It develops this wicked good smoky flavor, and it's so delicious. A little bit of cilantro butter on there. You just got some of that laying around your house. That you made up. You have dried cilantro. There you go. Plums. Plums are a cool one, even apricots. Just throw everything on your grill and see how it turns out. See, Steve doesn't have my my time up already. I think another cool thing to do if you're doing like grilled fish or whatever, especially you, make your ice cubes out of like wine, half water, stuff it inside your fish. You can spray like your red meat with red wine that's in a spray bottle, or white wine for your fish. Obviously, you're putting alcohol on an open flame, so don't excessively do it. Just pour yourself a glass of wine. And another cool thing is wood planks. They can be intimidating to people. They sell them at like even Market Basket and stuff sells them. Just soak it overnight, and you're totally ready to rock. Heat it up, throw your fish on it, and add like a nice hickory flavor, cedar flavor. It's really cool. You can impress your people at your house. So we're having wood plank salmon tonight. All right, so I'll give you my quick vegetable demo. It is like 8:30 in case anybody had to leave at that time. 7:30, sorry. Oh, I'm good, okay. All right, so rookie error 101 here with the vegetables. Everybody loves to grill vegetables. So delicious, like one of my favorite reasons for it to be sunny in summertime. And the cool thing is that once these things start growing local, you'll notice like the price will progressively drop through the summer, and that's awesome. Seriously, like utilize, if there's another thing to take from this class, I'll call it, do some research on what we grow locally around here, or what big farms produce locally, and try to utilize those ingredients in your meal prep during those times of the year, because you're going to save yourself tons of money. they're gonna taste way better, and chances are pretty good it's helping support somebody closer to home and not in Ecuador. So, which, obviously our delicious fruits come from, but if you can buy local zucchini, I live on the border of Litchfield. I'm sure there's like local farmers markets around here. I don't know, are you guys' farmers markets at like 3 to 6 when nobody can go to them? Do you notice that?
It took me a long time to find a CSA that I could go to, that I could get there.
Yeah,
At the time.
I'm like, who doesn't work
No.
from 2 to 4?
And Hooksett got a farmer's market, was last summer the first summer we had a farmer's
No,
market?
we've had it for a couple of years.
And Manchester has a couple, but right in Litchfield, it's kind of a treat for you guys, maybe like 25, 30 minutes, but on 3A in Litchfield, there's like 3 or 4 farms. I bring my kids there. It's like most of it's grown right in their own farms. They have sister farms in Massachusetts, and they are a little bit more expensive, but I'm totally okay with a little bit more expensive, and I know and they taste so delicious. It's like totally all grown right there. So anyway, so everybody loves grilled zucchini, right? And how do you typically grill it? Anybody? No, you don't like zucchini? Not me.
I marinate mine.
You would, but what would you do with it after this point?
After that, I cut it up.
Into what? Little circles?
No chunks.
How big?
Well,
You're wrong.
Pressure's on.
How big? Okay,
I
so,
don't know about an inch.
about an inch long.
yeah, no.
Little coins, like little zucchini
Right,
coins.
yeah, little nightmares to put on your grill. Right, yeah. Right, okay, bingo.
Yes.
This is how I do it. Typically, I'll just do this and put it on the grill. Olive oil, salt, pepper, whatever, right on the grill. Because guess what I can do with this after it comes off the grill? Cut it into all the coins I want. All the half moons I want. But I just have to do this one time. On the grill. On the grill. Done. I don't have to do this.
And they
Oh, there's one that's gone. See? Okay. Well, my kids are picky about the seeds, so what I do is I just do the next level. I do this. And this is a good trick, even if you're sauteing these or anything like that. The seeds can get seedy and soggy. I have a YouTube video on this, okay, check it out. So what I do, and you don't have to waste a ton of the vegetable, but just a little bit out like this, right? And what it does is it creates 2 flat surfaces, and it leaves the yummy part of the zucchini, right? So when you're sauteing it or when you're adding zucchini to soups or anything like that, you know how it gets like that seedy, soggy, like it turns into like gel in the middle? Yeah, so, and then you can whack this up into small pieces. So what I do is I have 4 of these and I grill them just like that. And then when they come off, as they come off my grill, bang, bang, that's it. And then if somebody wants to cut it smaller than this on their plate, that's why I give you a knife and a fork. But it made my job much easier. Same thing with this gem right here. This is even seedier in the middle. So when it's in this, when you have it quartered, sometimes I'll just take the tops off like this because this doesn't have any seeds and it's a big enough chunk for me to work with on the grill. But that's it. I don't make it any smaller than that. It's ready to go. I'll cut this in half. Same thing here. Take the seeds out. Now I have a nice flat surface, and I have 4 of these gems that are just one flip away from deliciousness. No mess. I don't lose any of it through my grill. So that's it. It blows my mind how I see people cut these like little tiny coins, and I'm like, why? And then they get really soggy really easily, and they're great when they first come right off the grill. But then you plate everything else, and then it sits there for a couple minutes, and now it's just like stewed vegetables. You went through all this effort for what? If you leave them in big, huge chunks like this, they get nice grill marks and they get nice and that char on the outside, but they're still solid and they have a nice texture to them. So that's that. So anyway, that's my theme with vegetables. Is just cut them large and in charge, people. This is a useful part of the pepper also. Okay? Does anybody throw this away at home? Thank you. My sisters are like, you eat that? I'm like, I don't know what planet I don't know what house they come from. Like, I don't even know.
That's the snack.
Right, exactly. It's my dog, my kids, I shoot people away with it. And then also, like, people have have this tendency of like cutting the bottom off too. I also don't know where that came from. I think we have this habit, we have to cut the top and bottom off of it. Are we guilty of this? Like, I don't know what you're removing. There's nothing to remove here at all. This part you do want to remove. So just pull out the seeds. Again, you can just throw these on the grill too like this if you want, or I would never cut this smaller than quarters. And then again, when they come off the grill, I can cut them up smaller or whatever. But this is it.
How'd you take the seeds out that fast?
I stuck my hand in it and twisted it, hold it up. Yeah. Yeah, and then I see people do this too, where they're like slicing the I don't even know why. Why? Where did we learn? I mean, I'll tell you why. From a culinary standpoint, this is considered bitter. And the other reason is because the reason people remove the bottoms for when they're making veggie trays, or they take this part out, is because it helps create like flat sticks. So now I can whack this up into a bunch of sticks. But you're not doing that on the grill, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or people cut like rings that cook in like milliseconds on the grill, and then they're real soggy. The point of these nice summer vegetables, they get a nice grill on that skin, but they have a great texture still. You know what I mean? If I wanted to strain out, if I wanted mushy vegetables, I could make soup and just strain them out and put them on a plate. You know? So that's that. Again, same thing, I throw this right on the grill or whatever. And then, so same idea with the onions. Actually, I'll be honest, I took the wrong part of this off. I was half talking to Steve. This is the top of the onion.
I'm talking to you.
So anyway, and he half listens. It's a good relationship. We have a whole relationship. I half talk, he half listens.
Bossing me around, that's how I do it.
Whatever you want to call it, Steve.
Yeah.
So leave the little, I call it the hairy part, little root, it's got the little roots on it. Leave that part on, because basically what it does is that's like the mother point. It's keeping everything together. So, and again with these onions, this is a sweet onion, so you want to have sweet onions, they got a little bit more sugar in them, and sugar equals what? Nice caramelization. The higher the sugar content in something, the quicker it burns, or it gets that black char to it, so, or the more it produces that, that caramelized flavor. So, for onions, again, salt, pepper, olive oil, I just grill them in big quarters like this. Because I'm going to tell you, even if you have that little piece on, they're going to break up. If this looks like a massive onion to serve somebody, don't worry. Once it's hot, it just sweats right apart. So, or you can do, 8 chunks like this, whatever you're into. But just make it, my point is that make it as easy as possible. You can always cut something smaller after you take it off the grill. Cool?
Can I ask an unrelated question? What do you use onions for your onion soup? Last time I did, whatever I made was so sweet. It was.
What kind of onions do we use for onion soup? Spanish. Yeah.
The red ones?
No, yellow.
Yellow
Spanish?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's it.
Yellow
When you
Spanish
said
onions.
onions, I was like, I need to find out what.
Yep. Everybody heard the term called mirepoix? Mirepoix is like a fundamental of French culinary arts. Mirepoix is a mixture of 50% Spanish onion, 25% carrot, 25% celery. They're considered aromatics. So always Spanish onion when it's in a dish that's an aromatic-based dish. Vidalias and sweet onions are really great in like chicken salads.
Not so good in onion soup.
No.
That's what I made it with.
Right, especially because when you're making
Soup,
onion soup,
like-
you're caramelizing the onions. And the Spanish onion has a little bit of sugar in it, just enough so that it's got a savory, but it had the caramelized, almost has like a, it enriches the flavor as opposed to a Vidalia onion that's high in sugar. That actually makes it a caramel being
It was
a
sweet.
sweet flavor, yeah.
Other people liked it. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
And
I know, I like
I wanted
salt.
onions.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to taste some
Yeah.
onions.
Okay, so things to remember. Oh, this is another one. Okay, so we'll pass vegetables. I had grilled my 25-ounce T-bone steak. It's delicious. Everything else is ready on the table. Or I grill my flank steak, okay, that I've marinated in my cilantro butter. I just have hanging out. Grill my flank steak. I pull it off the grill. Everything else is ready at the table. Do I just cut into the meat? No. Something like, we're back to the word purge. It's called, you need to let meat rest because it's the science happening inside of it. What's happening is that there are moving molecules that are saying, scientifically saying to themselves, I need to get out as fast as possible. So when you cut into the meat, you give all those moving molecules a place to go, bing, and just bring all the juice out. When you don't give it an exit, what it does is it goes crazy throughout all the meat, basically dispersing itself, and as it does it, it cools off so those molecules stop moving so fast. So they just rest where they are. So now you have a juicy piece of meat throughout. So, I mean, I'm talking like let stuff rest for 8 to 10 minutes before you touch it. Bigger cuts of meat, like when you pull your turkey out at Thanksgiving, you ever notice how you can like let it sit for like an hour before anybody eats it? Because you're so worried it's going to take too long that it's the first thing done. Right? Right? You like haven't even bought the broccoli yet, the turkey's done. That's cool. It's good because it's something called purge happens, and it's very common. And you wouldn't believe the difference between a piece of meat that rested for 10 minutes and a piece of meat that was cut right into. Or like it bleeds a lot, bleed, purge, same word. You cut into something and then you have lots of blood all around it. You just gotta let stuff rest. Also, a tip from restaurants: your steak is done before your French fries because it's resting underneath the light, so that when you cut into it, it's not just like.
And so beef, turkey, whatever,
anything that comes. If you're roasting something, I'll roast a whole pork loin and let it sit for 30 minutes before I touch it. Things like fish, that you pan sear, whatever, you can eat right away. I'm talking like cuts of beef that purge is gonna happen. Keep items away from each other for cross-contamination. I see people that they're crazy about it in their kitchens, but on grills they're super loosey-goosey about it. Like my asparagus is almost done, then I slap on a bunch of burgers. You see this happen? Chicken, these chickens are done, this chicken's done, or these burgers are done, we're throwing raw ones right next to it. You keep an eye out, it happens. Okay? And it's not necessarily that the meat is, it's now I'm touching this spatula with this one, now I'm touching this spatula, this one's got the cheese, it's all set, it's got cheese and E. coli surprise on the other side. Just be conscious of it. Typically your grill equipment is so hot that it's really not a factor, but just something to be conscious of. Are your asparagus, rolling down the edges of your raw chicken and they're almost done, whatever. And never push down or squeeze the juice out of any items. Please. Write that down. Okay. That's all I got written down. Anybody have any more questions about anything besides grilling or?
Where do you let it rest? You said let the meat rest. In the heat or on the counter?
Room temperature. Yep.
Room temperature?
On your table or next to the grill. Yeah, if you can keep it out. If I roast something, I'll leave it on top of my stove. If I grill something, I'll usually bring it in the house because it's typically, a little bit cooler outside. Or if it's a hot day, then I just leave it right next to the grill.
Do you cover it, or do you just?
No.
No.
No, I would never cover a grilled meat because it's a dry cooking method.
Yeah.
So then it's got that nice caramelization that's happened on the outside of the meat, and then you kind of sweat it out. So yeah.
How many times do you ever hear, well, the steaks are ready, come and get them?
From who?
No, but I mean, you go to a barbecue, and they'll say, well, the steaks are ready, come and eat them.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Oh yes. So the burgers are they put everything out at the same time. That's a trick. It's very tricky to get everything lined up at one time, and then just flies in the pasta salad and barbecues are great. You ever notice too how loosey-goosey people are with food sanitation at barbecues? You're just the pasta salad's been out in 78 degree weather, right? On a good day, 92 degree weather for 4 hours. You're you're just gonna wrap this up? Anybody want to take any of this home? Pretty sure. Chances are pretty good, right? We're laughing because we're totally do it. I'm totally I'm gonna take it in my hour ride car home in my trunk. Feed it to my kids tomorrow. Again, are you gonna kill somebody? Probably not. But just things to be conscious of. Since I told you to eat pink pork, I'm feeling a little guilty. Teach you some sanitation on the other side. Yeah. So any other questions? Anything else you guys want to talk about? We got some time.
I really liked your salmon, and I never thought that I liked salmon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That was
was
Chef
that
Nicole.
fresh or frozen or?
No, it's fresh. Always fresh. We do get it in fresh. But salmon is one of those things that it has to be cooked right. Definitely has to be cooked right. Canned salmon, I wouldn't eat if somebody paid me to. But so people will eat that, or they eat whatever, you know what I mean, and steamed or, poached salmon, like, ugh, whatever, like, put some nice flavorful seasoning on it. Salmon is a very oily fish and it can have a very dominant flavor, a very fishy flavor. People call it a fishy flavor. It's actually the oils in it. It's an oil-rich fish, which actually makes it taste good. That's how it breaks down easily, and that's why it stays so moist, because it is fat, has a lot of fat content. It's wicked, wicked good for you. That's a technical term. It's super good for you. But yeah, if you like that seasoning, if you get like a Cajun rub or anything like that, we sell our seasonings. Anybody want some tonight? A nice Cajun rub and pan-seared, it's delicious. Yeah, served over some quinoa, some couscous or rice, whatever you got going on, and broccoli.
What do you put on your swordfish?
My swordfish, like when I cook it at home, I dry rub swordfish. I'm not a big marinator of whitefish.
Yeah.
If I marinate whitefish, it's in white wine and butter, and it's in my oven. But yeah, I dry rub it. I'll use Chef Nicole seasoning, or I'll use like I'm a huge fan of Asian cuisine, so I'll do like a spicy mustard and soy. You know, like I'll dribble a little bit of soy or something like that on it. I also love Mexican flavor profiles, so I'll do like a cumin. You know what's really cool if you're into like, and this is like totally if you want to feel like you're not into making spice rubs, like taco seasoning or anything like that, rub that on the outside of your steaks, on your swordfish, and do onions and peppers, like, and throw it in, you know, take a skewer of it, throw it right in a taco shell or a soft wrap, whatever, and just utilize those different flavors like across the board. Yeah. So, or I'll do olive oil and like some fresh herbs, I'll do that, salt and pepper. I like the taste of swordfish, so I try not to do it, you know, like where salmon, that's a great reason you liked it, is because it has a different flavor profile as opposed to just a protein flavor. I really like that, like chicken. Chicken tastes like nothing, unless it's, you know, it's got some gravy on it, whatever, so. Swordfish is like that, I like the actual flavor of it. And tuna, same thing.
In terms of meals that are fast, so you're coming home, it's like the very end of the day, like trying to put together a meal quickly, what will you be doing at home?